The checkpoint at the Andromeda Gate bristled with enough firepower to level a small moon. General Cross stood at the command platform, surrounded by a dozen officers whose uniforms gleamed with enough metals to stock a jewelry store. They watched the approaching vessel with barely concealed amusement. "Another relic," Cross muttered, studying the battered freighter limping toward their position. Its hull was scorched black, patched with mismatched plates that spoke of 100 desperate repairs. Probably some trader trying to slip through without proper authorization. Lieutenant Dane worked the scanner array, his fingers moving across the console with practiced ease. "Ship's transponder is broadcasting, sir. Single occupant. No cargo signature. Minimal weapons systems." "Of course it is," Cross said, drawing chuckles from the assembled officers. "Probably running contraband in shielded containers. Standard procedure. Board her, confiscate whatever illegal goods she's carrying, and send her back to whatever backwater station spawned her." The freighter slowed as it approached the checkpoint, its engines coughing jets of misaligned thrust. Through the magnified viewport, they could see the pilot, a woman, small and unremarkable, her face hidden beneath a worn flight helmet. She looked like 1,000 other independent haulers who scraped by on the edges of civilized space. "This is Andromeda Gate Command," Cross announced over the open channel, his voice dripping with authority. "Cut your engines and prepare to be boarded. Any resistance will be met with immediate destruction." The woman's voice crackled back through the speakers, tired and flat. "That won't be necessary, General. I'm just passing through." The bridge erupted in laughter. "Just passing through." As if the most heavily fortified checkpoint in 3 sectors was some backwater toll booth she could simply ignore. "Lieutenant, light her up," Cross ordered. "Let's show this junker pilot what happens when you don't." The scanner screamed. Every officer on the bridge froze as the warning klaxon shattered the moment. Dane's face went pale, his hands trembling over the console as data streams cascaded across his display in angry crimson. "Sir," Dane whispered, his voice barely audible over the alarm. "Sir, the scanner's identifying her. The ship's registry. It's a match for—" "For what, Lieutenant?" Cross snapped, irritation bleeding into concern. Dane's hands moved across the console, pulling up the identification screen. Ancient files bloomed into view, classified reports, incident logs, tactical assessments that were decades old. And at the top of every document, rendered in bold letters that seemed to pulse with warning, "Ali Baba Yaga, do not engage." The laughter died. Every officer on the bridge stared at the screen, then at the battered freighter, then back at the screen. It was impossible. Baba Yaga was a legend, a ghost story told to rookie pilots to keep them honest. The woman who'd held the line at the collapse of Proxima, who'd walked into a Kravik Hive ship alone and walked out as the only survivor, who'd faced down an entire battle fleet with nothing but a half-dead freighter and the kind of cold fury that made admirals wake up screaming. She was supposed to be dead. Everyone assumed she'd finally met something she couldn't kill. "General," Dane said, his voice cracking, "standing orders from High Command are explicit. If Baba Yaga is ever identified, all forces are to stand down immediately and provide unrestricted passage. No questions, no delays, no." "I can read, Lieutenant," Cross interrupted, but his voice had lost its edge. His hand moved to the communication console, hesitating. Around him, the other officers had gone silent, their earlier bravado evaporating like mist. On the screen, the woman's ship continued its approach, unconcerned. Patient. She'd probably seen this reaction 100 times before. Cross cleared his throat, keying the open channel. "Baba Yaga, this is Andromeda Gate Command. You're cleared for immediate passage. All weapons systems standing down. We apologize for the delay." The response came after a long pause, and when it did, there was something in her voice, not quite amusement, not quite warning, just a terrible, weary certainty. Smart choice, General. The freighter passed through the checkpoint without slowing, its engines leaving a trail of ionized particles that glowed briefly in the void before fading. On the bridge, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. They simply watched as the ship that had made generals nervous and entire fleets retreat disappeared into the darkness beyond the gate. Cross finally exhaled